Hey everyone, this is Elias from RevMatch Media. Today we're going to see if the Dodge Charger Scat Pack Widebody is the ultimate family race car. Race car for the family race car. Let's take a look at some of the things to show you that this in fact is the best race car for the family, or the family race car. When we start talking about a race car, we want to start with the engine. We're looking at 485 horsepower under the hood of the Charger. It's got the V8 6.4 liter, and this one is connected to the 8-speed automatic. Now, typically you don't want to deal with an automatic with a race car, but this is very well done. Now, when we're talking about the family side of things, it's got technology to shut off 4 of the cylinders when you're on the road and you want to put it in eco mode to save the most gas possible. Again, we're talking family friendly here. So 4 cylinders in eco mode if you're wanting to be in family mode, so to speak, and the full power of the V8 at 485 when you're out on the track. Pirelli said it best, power's nothing without control, and that's what this has. It has Pirelli's. It's 305, 35, 20. On a 20 by 11 inch wheels. This is massive. We're talking about lots of grip because again, to get those 485 horsepower down, it's nothing without control. And these tires and this wheel package definitely helps that out. And again, there's nothing better than safety on the family side with having your car be in control. Now, talking about control, we move on to the 6-piston Brembo brakes. Talk about stopping, because it's not the smallest of cars, but these guys really stop this car on a dime. So when you're on the racetrack, you want to stop on the latest possible point. These Brembo brakes let you do that. And of course, got to keep it safe with the family and stop in any emergency situation. Now, what does everyone like about a race car is the way that it sounds. So with the Dodge Charger and the remote start, you can hear those 8 cylinders roar to life. Now, does a race car, yeah, we're gonna have to turn it off because it's a little loud. But for a race car, it's awesome going down the track and just feeling the sound of your engine roaring. Now, what's great about it on the family side of things is, how cool is it to make your kids put on a smile when they hear that V8 rumble? No better feeling as a dad to make your kids happy with awesome things like that. Another thing as well is just the comfort. You know, if you're at home and it's a little warm or cold outside, just a matter of turning it on, and the climate control inside gets you to the right temperature that you need to. As well as, you know, you got to get all those fluids nice and warmed up for when you're ready to hit the track. Now, when we come inside the car, we take a look at what makes this such a great race car and a family car. So we want to first start out with the steering wheel. Now, before with the Challenger, we didn't have the flat bottom like we do in the Charger. This is actually a nice little added bonus. It's such a subtle, small thing, but it makes such a huge difference to have that flat bottom. Plus, it just gives it such a great elegance to its design. Now we have the paddle shifters on the side here, just like we did with the Challenger. And again, it makes it a great tool for you to be shifting on the track, or if you're out on the street and just need to shift a couple of gears up or down. And again, we have my favorite thing in the back of the wheel where we have the volume controls. And the ergonomics of this is great because again, when we're dealing with a family car, safety is first and most important. So not having to play the thumb wars like I've mentioned before and having to reach over, this makes it a lot easier to bring your volume up or down or to switch the next track. And of course, if you're out on the track, you want to listen to some tunes to make yourself go faster, this makes it a lot easier to change your song. Typically on a race car, you don't want to talk too much electronics, but the Dodge really makes this a lot easier to work with. Now, when we're in sort of your family mode that I mentioned, you want to have things on auto. Now that's going to make the transmission nice and smooth, no aggressive shifting, keep it at the most economical setting. Paddle shifters, if you want to have that on, that's going to work great. You have your traction control, puts it on street, so it's not an aggressive amount of power that is being put down on the pavement, and it just keeps things safe, especially in wet or slippery conditions. The suspension, putting it in street mode is definitely going to keep you in a nice, comfortable ride. You're not going to be feeling the bumps. And of course, we have the steering, which we can switch over. Right now it's set to sport, but it can also be set to street, which is going to be the lightest feel of the wheel for the comfort. You know, when you're hauling kids and you're on a long road, you don't want to be really fighting with the steering wheel or having to put too much effort on it. Let's move over to our track mode. So when we're on track, it's all red, and red is what we want to see when we're on the track. So the transmission turns into track mode. The gears, the shifting is a lot more aggressive. You'll definitely feel the shifts a lot stronger between gears, and it's not going to care about fuel economy, so it's not going to shift early. It is going to let it go to a higher RPM. Paddle shifters are on. Obviously, it's going to make it easier. Traction is set to track, which when you do that, it does turn off traction control. As you can see, the traction control light is off. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the entire amount of traction control turned off completely, or if it's going to leave a little bit on. Now, when we have the suspension in track mode, you're definitely going to feel every single bump on the road. And that's exactly what you want. And it definitely makes a huge difference going from that street mode to the track mode. This isn't just a gimmick of a button. These things actually make a huge difference. Now, my favorite part is steering. Steering set to track makes this steering wheel feel so incredible. It has so much weight to it, and that's how I typically like my steering wheels to feel, almost to the verge where it feels like you don't have any assistance or you don't have any power steering almost, which is great. You know, it's a nice heavy feel, and this thing, when set to track, has no dead spot. It's unbelievable how it changes the dynamic of the steering wheel feel. Now again, you can always come to custom and customize it however you want. You can do the custom setup where you can set it to be family friendly with all the street modes, or you can put this out on the track in track mode. Now when we look at family mode, we also have the Eco. So the Eco is going to make the transmission shift as early as possible just to keep those revs down. It's not going to let you shift the paddles because obviously you'd be out of Eco mode and really affecting your miles per gallon at that point. And it makes the suspension set to street mode and the steering to sport. Again, now what's great about this is when you're out on the road and you're on the highway, you want to, you know, keep it in that family mode and have it with the most fuel economy. It actually turns off 4 of the cylinders and makes this a 4-cylinder engine, because after all, when you're on the highway, you don't need all 485 horsepower to just have the car cruising at a constant speed. So it definitely makes a Charger a great, useful, everyday car. Now, one of my favorite things is the valet mode. This makes sure that your baby is nice and safe when you're leaving it in the hands of someone else to park it for you. It's a very simple system. It's just a matter of inputting a 4-digit code. So this is 2019. Let's go ahead and just press in that number and go. And there you go. So you can see all the things that it switches it into. So it's reduced engine power. So again, it makes sure that you get to keep this car and not have a joyride occur. Now we move over to the race options, and when we switch to that, we have some great tools for on-the-track use. We start off with the line lock. Now this allows you to lock the front brakes and burn out to get those tires up to temperature when you're on the track and ready to attack that quarter mile. After that, we also have the launch control. This allows you to set the RPM depending on the track conditions and what RPM you want to hold that engine at when you're ready to launch. Now another useful tool is the shift light that shows in the cluster. So this lets you turn on the shift light. Now this lets you choose the shift light at different RPMs for each individual gear to get the most out of your driving and the gears. Now I'm still struggling to find out where all these 19 speakers are. This system is incredible. It's made by Harman Kardon, and it definitely has that live feel to it. It's probably one of the best, if not the best, that I've heard in a long time. This thing is incredible. I'm still trying to figure out where they put all these speakers in there, and it makes it great when you're on the road and you want to entertain anyone that is in the car with some great songs. Now when you're on the track and you want to get that song playing that gets you going, this is definitely the system you want it to be playing out of.
There's plenty of room in the back. You can even see we were able to comfortably fit my son's baby seat or his car seat in the back, and he can even be entertained with having the USB port in the back to charge his device. He has ventilation and even heated seats in the back, which is not what you usually see, with the typical heating only being in the front.
And there you have it. That's why I think the Dodge Charger is the ultimate family race car. See you guys later.